Noah sat on the wooden bench by the lake. The water was still like glass. The sky was soft and gray, and the air smelled like pine trees and rain. This was their bench's and Ava's. They used to meet here every Sunday. It felt too quiet. Ava had moved away 3 months ago. Her parents found new jobs in another country. She didn't want to go, but she had no choice. She had hugged Noah tightly on her last day, her voice shaking when she said, "Please don't forget me." He never did. Every Sunday since then, Noah still came to the bench. He brought the same tea Ava liked, kept her side of the bench clean, brushing off leaves or snow. It felt silly, maybe, but it made him feel close to her. He looked at the phone in his hand. No new messages. Ava hadn't texted in a week. She was probably busy. New school, new friends, new life. Maybe she had already moved on, Noah sighed. He missed her laugh, the way she always brought strange snacks to share, and how they used to talk about the stars and what humans could become one day. Ava believed humanity could do anything. You might even live on Mars one day, she would say with a smile. But right now, Noah didn't feel strong or hopeful. He felt small and left behind. He stood up and walked along the path. The wind blew through the trees, whispering like voices from far away. He wished he knew what to say to Ava. Should he call? Should he wait? He didn't want to seem needy or make her feel guilty. Noah stopped walking. His hand touched the metal chain around his neck. A small key hung from it. Ava gave it to him. "It's the key to our dreams," she said. "Keep it safe. When we meet again, we'll open the future together." He smiled a little at the memory. That evening back home, he sat at his desk. His laptop was open, but the screen was blank. Then he saw the small book Ava had given him. Skybound, Human Stories from the Edge of Space. Inside, Ava had written a note. "Noah, remember who you are. People like us make the future better, even when we feel small." Opened the first page and began to read. It was about an astronaut who trained alone for years, unsure if his mission would ever launch. He felt forgotten. But in the end, he became the first human to reach Saturn's orbit. He wasn't famous, but he made history, quietly. That story made something spark in Noah's chest. Humanity didn't give up. They built, they reached, they hoped. He wasn't alone in his sadness. People everywhere felt lost sometimes. But they still moved forward. Noah opened a new file on his laptop, began writing to Ava. "I don't know if you miss me the way I miss you, but I come to the bench every Sunday. Still keep your side clean. The lake still looks the same. I read that book you gave me again. Thank you. It reminded me that even small things can matter. You reminded me of that. I hope you're doing okay. If you ever feel alone, remember this. You helped someone believe in the future again. That someone is me. Your friend Noah." He hit send. For the first time in weeks, he didn't feel stuck. Maybe she would reply. Maybe not. But he had reached out, and that meant something. Noah looked out the window at the night sky. Stars blinked softly in the distance. Maybe one day, he and Ava would sit on that bench again. Maybe one day. They'd build something new together, but for now, hope was enough. Asterisk Ava sat near her window, holding her phone in both hands. Outside, the sky was turning orange and pink. Birds flew past tall buildings, and the city lights were starting to blink on. Everything around her was new. New home, new school, new people. But inside, she felt something old. She missed Noah. He had been her best friend for years. They used to dream together, laugh about silly things, and sit by the lake on that old wooden bench. Now, her life felt like a story she didn't want to read. She felt far from everything she loved. She'd been too scared to write back when she first left. She didn't know what to say. She thought maybe time would make the sadness go away, but it didn't. It only grew louder. Her phone buzzed. She looked down and saw a message from Noah. Her heart jumped to Ava. "I don't know if you miss me the way I miss you. I come to the bench every Sunday. ... Her eyes filled with tears. Read the message 3 times, then again. Each word felt like a soft hand reaching across the distance. She hadn't forgotten the bench. She hadn't forgotten the key either. It was still in her bag. Next to the notebook where she scribbled ideas for the future. She once believed humans could do anything, even reach the stars. But lately, she wasn't so sure. Her hands shook. As she opened a new message to Noah, I cried when I read your message. I wanted to write sooner, but I didn't know how to say how much I miss you. Everything is different here. It's loud and fast and full of people, but I feel invisible. Sometimes I wonder if I still matter. But your message reminded me. Thank you for going to the bench. Thank you for keeping the dream alive. I hope I can do the same from here. Your friend Ava Shea hit send before she could stop herself. A few minutes later, a reply came. To Ava, you always matter. You helped me believe again? Maybe this is what humans do best. We keep trying, even when we feel small. Start dreaming again, from both sides of the sky. Let's build something, even if we're far away. Noah smiled. Her room still felt unfamiliar. The streets still felt strange. But something inside her had changed. There was a light now, small one but real. She pulled out her notebook and flipped to a blank page at the top. She wrote, Project Bench. Then, slowly, she began to sketch. She drew the bench where they used to sit. Then she added stars above it, then a satellite, and a small robot with a message screen. An idea was forming. Something simple, something human. She didn't need to be close to Noah to feel close to him. They could still build something, even across cities, across countries, across the sky. The next day she told her science teacher about her idea. The teacher smiled. Sounds like a perfect entry for the inter-school project contest. Ava nodded. Her heart beat fast. That night, she sent Noah another message to Noah. I'm building something. I'll tell you more soon. Let's meet again in our dreams until the stars bring us together in real life. Still holding the key, Ava far away, Noah read her message under the stars. He held the key around his neck and smiled. They were far apart, but hope was alive. Humanity, quiet, brave, and full of wonder, was moving forward. One message at a time. Asterisk. Noah leaned over his desk. Pieces of plastic, wires, and tiny lights spread out in front of him. The room smelled like solder and dust. He wasn't a scientist. Not really, but today, he felt like one. Ava's last message had lit something inside him. I'm building something, she had written, so Noah wanted to build something too. He didn't know exactly what it would be, but it had to be something that could travel far, something that could reach Ava, even across oceans. He looked over at the old shoebox that sat on his windowsill. Inside it were memories. Ava's notes. Photos of the bench and their silly drawings of rocket ships and robots. One little picture showed a robot carrying a paper heart through space. That gave him an idea. He opened a notebook and wrote at the top of a new page. Skybot, a message robot for Ava. Ava, in her own room across the world, was working too. Her fingers moved quickly over her tablet. She had drawn her version of the bench again, but this time it was floating in space. A satellite hovered nearby, sending signals shaped like stars. She called it Project Benchlink. She imagined it as a small satellite that could store messages, send them out, and blink soft lights for anyone looking at the sky. Maybe one day others would send messages through it too. Maybe one day it could connect people who felt alone like her and Noah. She smiled. Even though she couldn't see him, she felt him. Not just in memory, but in every spark of the idea they shared. She sent him another message to Noah. I think people forget how big the sky is in how many ways we can still reach each other. I'm working on something called Benchlink. It's just drawings for now, but maybe we could build it together, even from far away. We used to dream under the same sky. Maybe the stars were listening. Avano's reply came quickly. To Ava. I love that name, Benchlink. Sounds like something real. I'm working on Skybot. He's made of recycled parts and dreams. He doesn't work yet, but when he does, I want him to send a signal to your Benchlink. I think we're making something bigger than we know. Noah, the days passed. Noah's parents noticed the change in him. He smiled more. He talked about circuits and messages and space. They didn't fully understand, but they helped where they could. His dad found an old battery pack in the garage. His mom gave him an old phone to use for the robot's voice. Ava, too, got support from her science club. Her teacher helped her write a basic code that could send light signals using a tiny chip. Her new classmates watched in curiosity as she explained BenchLink to them. One girl said, "That's actually kind of beautiful." For the first time since moving, Ava felt seen. One evening, Ava stood on her balcony with a flashlight. She blinked it in the pattern she had programmed into BenchLink. 3 short flashes. 1 long, 3 short again. Far away, on a hill outside town, Noah saw it. He laughed. It was working. Not just the lights, but the connection. They were still building, still reaching, still human. Humanity wasn't always about rockets or power. Sometimes it was just 2 kids trying to send messages across the sky, trying to make others feel less alone, trying to believe, trying to hope. And in that quiet, stubborn hope, they were strong. Noah sat at his desk with Skybot standing beside him. The little robot still looked a bit silly, made from an old speaker, toy arms, and a phone screen taped to its chest. But to Noah, it was beautiful. He had written new code the night before. Now when he pressed the button, Skybot's screen showed a message. "Hello, Ava. I'm still here." It wasn't perfect. It didn't blink lights into space or send signals across the world. But it meant something. It was the beginning. That same afternoon, he recorded a short video of Skybot speaking its message. Then he posted it online with the title, "For my friend who moved away, hope still works." He didn't expect much. Maybe a few people would watch it. He went to sleep. Ava woke up the next morning to dozens of messages. "Is this real? This made me cry. I want to build something for my best friend, too." She blinked in surprise. Someone had shared Noah's video, then someone else. Hundreds of people were watching it, liking it, sharing their own stories. She quickly clicked the link. Skybot stood tall, wobbly, funny looking but full of heart. Then it spoke. "Hello, Ava. I'm still here." Her eyes filled with tears. In that one line, she felt all the things Noah couldn't say, that he missed her, that he hadn't given up, that even though the world was big and they were far apart, they were still connected. She sent him a message right away. "To Noah, I saw your video. The world saw it too. You turned your sadness into something strong. That's what humans do. That's what we do. Let's show them what hope looks like. Let's build BenchLink for real." Of a school. Ava's teacher brought it up in class. "This is a great example of using science for emotion for connection," she said. "How about we make it our group project?" The students clapped. They liked the idea. Not just because it was smart, but because it felt real. Started sketching, printing parts, and writing code. Ava was their leader. In the middle of the lab, a small antenna began to take shape. It wasn't going to space. Not yet. It would send signals across school campuses, blink messages to nearby phones, and hold a growing list of words from people who missed someone. At Noah's school, something similar happened. A classmate came up and said, "Hey, I saw your robot. It's cool. Want help making it better?" Soon, 3 more joined. They brought soldering kits, sensors, and a 3D printer. Skybot got new arms, a brighter screen, and even a solar panel. But the most important thing was still the message. Hope still works. 2 weeks later, Noah and Ava planned a joint live stream. They couldn't be together, but they could connect their projects on the same day. Noah would activate Skybot. From his hill, Ava would launch BenchLink from her rooftop. At the same time, they'd send a shared message to everyone watching. The day came. Thousands of people tuned in. Noah pressed the button. Skybot raised one arm and blinked its light. Ava, a CTIV, a TED BenchLink. It lit up like a soft star. Together, their screens showed one simple line. "To anyone feeling alone, you are not." Somewhere in another country, a girl who had just lost her friend whispered, "Thank you." A boy in a small town ran to show. His grandmother. Teacher printed the message and pinned it to her classroom wall. Hope had spread. From one bench, from one robot, from one message, now the whole world was watching. Humanity wasn't just science. It wasn't just machines. It wasn't just machines. It was hearts trying to reach each other, even across time, even across space. even across sadness. And that was enough. Asterisk Noah stood in front of his school stage, holding Skybot in his arms. His heart beat fast. Big banner behind him read, HopeBot's Challenge, Rebuild Connection. He looked out at the crowd of students, teachers, and parents. Some held small robots in their hands. Others had posters and light boards. Everyone was there for the same reason, to reconnect, to share, to heal. It all started with Skybot, with Ava, with a message of hope now. It had become something bigger. A few weeks earlier, a famous science YouTuber had shared their live stream video. Now soon, schools from different countries started sending messages. Kids wrote, "Can we join too? We want to make our own hope bots." That's when Noah and Ava had an idea, a global challenge. Anyone, anywhere, could build a robot or even just a blinking light box that sent a message of care. It could be for a friend, a family member, or anyone feeling far away. The rules were simple. Use simple parts. Add one personal message. Share how it helped you reconnect. Ava's school joined right away. She stood in front of her class with her BenchLink unit, smiling. "We're not just building machines," she told them. "We're building bridges between hearts." Her friends added tiny flags to their projects. One girl made a hope bot that played music. A boy made one shaped like a cloud that glowed different colors. Ava helped them all. She felt alive again, like she belonged. At night, she messaged Noah to Noah, "I think this is what we were always meant to do. Even if we feel far away, we can still lead something beautiful together. I miss you, but I don't feel alone anymore." Avati replied quickly to Ava, "Me too. The distance still hurts. But when I see Skybot blinking, I remember you." And now, hundreds of kids have blinking bots too. You started a light that won't go out. At Noah's school event, one small boy stepped up to the mic. His voice was quiet. "My sister moved away last year," he said. "We used to play space games. I made this hope bot for her. It blinks blue, our favorite color." He held up his tiny robot. It blinked slowly. People clapped. Noah smiled. He remembered how hard it had been when Ava first left. He still missed her every day. But this made it worth it. Later that day, students from 5 countries connected in a video call. Each showed their hope bot, shared who it was for, and told their stories. One girl from Brazil said, "My grandma is in the hospital. I made this so she knows I'm thinking of her." A boy from Japan said, "My father works far away. I built this to remind him he's still close in my heart." Ava spoke last. "I started this with my best friend, Noah. We were just 2 kids who missed each other. But we believed in something bigger. We believed in people. And we believed that even when we're far apart, we can still care. We can still reach." That night, Ava stood on her rooftop again. She looked up at the stars. In her hands, she held a small remote. She pressed a button. BenchLink blinked softly. Miles away, on a quiet hill, Skybot blinked back. They were still connected, still building, still hoping. Humanity had once reached space with rockets and machines. But this time, it reached hearts with simple lights and quiet courage, and that was the truest journey of all. Asterisk, Ava stared at her phone screen. The last message from Noah was still there, but he hadn't replied to her newest one. It had been 4 days her fingers hovered above the keyboard. She wanted to send another message, but what if he was busy? Or worse, what if something was wrong? The HopeBots project was growing fast. Schools from over 20 countries were now part of it. Newspapers and websites wrote stories about it. Big science organization had even invited Ava and Noah to speak at a youth summit next month. It should have been exciting. All she could feel was a quiet emptiness. She missed his voice. She missed how he used to message. Her first now, it felt like he was drifting away. Meanwhile, in his room across the world, Noah sat alone, staring at the parts of Skybot. One of its lights had stopped working. He had tried to fix it all morning, but nothing helped. He rubbed his eyes. He had seen Ava's last message, but he didn't know how to answer. Lately, things felt too heavy. Some people online had started saying things like, "Ava is the real mind behind it all," And Noah's just the kid with a funny robot? He tried not to care. He knew Ava didn't feel that way, but the words stayed in his mind. Maybe she was better off without him. Maybe she was already doing everything without him. At dinner, Noah's mom asked, "Are you okay?" He nodded but didn't speak. She looked at him gently. "You've built something amazing, Noah. But don't forget, your heart is the biggest part of it. That's why it matters." He didn't answer. Later that night, he finally typed a message to Ava. Then he erased it. Then he tried again. To Ava, "I'm sorry. I've been quiet. I've just felt small. It's like I don't know where I fit in anymore. I see how strong you are, how far you've taken this. I don't want to hold you back, but I miss our talks. I miss us." Noah, the reply came minutes later. To Noah, "You're not holding me back. You've been holding me up." From the very beginning, this wasn't about projects. It was about us. Our friendship, our hope. Don't believe what people say online. They don't know your heart. You helped me believe in humans again. That matters more than any robot. Please don't disappear. Noah read it twice. Then he smiled just a little. He looked at Skybot, broken light and all. "Guess we're not done yet," he whispered. At her school, Ava sat on the stairs. Alone, her message still open on her phone. She felt tears behind her eyes, but they were warm, not sad. She took a deep breath and stood up. It was okay to feel distant sometimes. But that didn't mean they were lost. She had reached out, and he had reached back the next week. They began preparing for the youth summit together. They video called late into the night, laughing again, like they used to. They wrote their speech. Line by line, Noah said, "Let's end with something simple, something true." Ava nodded. Together they typed, "We started with silence. Then we sent a light. Now we're building a world where no one feels forgotten." Because sometimes humanity's greatest strength wasn't power or speed. Yes. It was the quiet courage to keep reaching even through. Noah looked out the airplane window. Clouds floated beneath him like soft waves. His hands felt cold, even though the cabin was warm. In his backpack, Skybot was wrapped in cloth, safely tucked away. He was going to see Ava for the first time. Since she moved, they would be in the same place again, the Global Youth Science Summit. Students from around the world were coming to share ideas. But for Noah, it wasn't about the summit. It was about her. He wondered, would she still smile the same way? Would their friendship feel the same? Or had time changed them? The plane flew on, but his heart stayed behind. Full of questions, Ava stood outside the hotel, holding a sign with Noah's name on it. She bounced on her heels, nervous and excited. She hadn't slept well the night before. She kept thinking about what to say, how to act. It had been months. She watched as a group of students came out of the taxi. Then there he was, Noah. Taller, his hair a little messier, but still him. Their eyes met. For a moment, neither moved. Then they both smiled. Inside the hotel room, they sat side by side on the bed, legs crossed like old times. "I miss this," Ava said softly. "Me too," Noah replied. Even the quiet. They didn't have to talk much. Being near each other was enough. They set up their robot Skybot, and Benchlink and laughed at how much they'd changed. Skybot had new arms. Benchlink had blinking stars on its side. There. "Kinda like us," Ava said. "Still learning, still growing." The next day, they walked into the summit building. It was huge, full of banners, lights, and voices in many languages. Some students brought solar drones. Others had robots that danced or helped water plants. Ava and Noah waited backstage with their project. When it was their turn, they stepped. Out under the bright lights, the room was full. Noah's voice shook at first, but Ava squeezed his hand behind the podium. He took a breath, and then he spoke. "We were just two kids sitting on a bench," he began. "Then one of us had to move away. It hurt. It felt like a connection broke," Ava added, "but we didn't give up. We built something with simple tools and a lot of heart. A light, a message, a robot A dream. They showed Skybot blinking. Benchlink lit up softly. Our message was small, Noah said, but it traveled. It reminded people no one has to feel alone. The crowd was silent. Then one girl stood up. My brother is sick, she said. I built a HopeBot after seeing your story. He smiles every time it blinks. Another boy raised his hand. I used to feel like I didn't belong. Then I joined a HopeBot group at my school. Now I help others build their own. Ava's eyes filled with tears. So did Noah's. They had started something simple, but it had grown, like stars spreading across the night. That night, Ava and Noah sat on the rooftop of the hotel. The city lights glowed below. The sky stretched wide above. I still feel sad sometimes, Noah said. Me too, Ava answered. But maybe that's okay. The sadness reminds us how much we care. They turned on Benchlink. Skybot blinked back. Together, the lights danced in silence, and they didn't feel distant anymore. They just felt human. Ava stared at the computer screen. The message was short but heavy. Benchlink project paused, pending review. She blinked twice, not believing it. Her chest tightened. The message came from one of the science groups that had helped fund their work. They said the project needed to stop temporarily. They wanted to make sure it was safe and useful. For education, Ava felt like someone had pulled the stars out of her sky. She quickly called Noah. What do you mean? Paused, asked, voice cracking through the phone. They said some schools are worried that maybe the HopeBots are distracting. Some people are using them to spread jokes instead of real messages. Noah went quiet. Ava sat on the floor. Her hands trembled. We worked so hard, she whispered. We just wanted to help people feel less alone. I know, Noah said. This isn't fair. They didn't speak for a while, just breathing. Just sitting in the silence of disappointment. Later that night, Noah sat alone in his room. He looked at Skybot on his desk. The robot's light blinked once, and stopped. He had turned off the code. His heart ached. He missed the beginning, when it was just him and Ava, and a dream that felt so big it could touch the sky. Now the dream felt smaller, like a fading star. He didn't know how to fix it. He didn't know if they could fix it. The next morning, Ava opened her inbox to hundreds of new messages. One was from a boy in Egypt. I don't care what the schools say. I still use my HopeBot every night. It makes me feel safe. Another from a girl in Canada. My mom works 2 jobs. She can't talk much, but she gave me a note for my HopeBot. It blinks for her when she's gone. Dozens more came. Photos. Stories. Simple. Glowing lights on desks and windows. She forwarded them to Noah. He called her 5 minutes later. You saw them too? He asked. Yes, she said. All of them. I think we forgot something. Noah said softly, What? We didn't build this for the science group, or for teachers, or for approval. Ava nodded slowly. We built it for people, for each other. For hope, Noah said. That evening, Ava and Noah went live again. It's just like the first time. Their faces showed on screen. No music, no big speech, it's just truth. Ava spoke first. We heard the news, so did many of you, Noah added. But we also heard your stories, your lights, your voices. They both looked straight into the camera. We're not giving up, Ava said, because hope doesn't ask for permission. Noah finished. Behind them, Skybot and Benchlink blinked gently dashed together. The video spread faster than any of their others. News outlets picked it up. Teachers wrote back saying, we support this. Let's keep going. Parents, students, and strangers joined in. Within days, science group lifted the pause. HopeBots were back. Later on a quiet night, Noah walked. Outside, he looked up at the stars. Somewhere far away, Ava was probably doing the same. They were still apart. Still not in the same city. Still sometimes feeling alone. But that no longer scared him, because they had proved something to the world, to themselves. Even when systems failed, people remembered. even when lights dimmed. Hearts kept glowing, even when distance hurt, connection still found a way. Ava stared at the computer screen. The message was short but heavy. Benchlink project paused, pending review. She blinked twice, not believing it. Her chest tightened. The message came from one of the science groups that had helped fund their work. They said the project needed to stop temporarily. They wanted to make sure it was safe and useful for education. Ava felt like someone had pulled the stars out of her sky. She quickly called Noah. "What do you mean paused?" Voice cracking through the phone. They said some. Schools are worried that maybe the hope bots are distracting, that some people are using them to spread jokes instead of real messages. Noah went quiet. Ava sat on the floor. Her hands trembled. "We worked so hard," she whispered. "We just wanted to help people feel less alone." "I know," Noah said. "This isn't fair." They didn't speak for a while, just breathing, just sitting in the silence of disappointment. Later that night, Noah sat alone in his room. He looked at Skybot on his desk. The robot's light blinked once, then stopped. He had turned off the code. His heart ached. He missed the beginning when it was just him and Ava, in a dream that felt so big it could touch the sky.
Oh.
The dream felt smaller, like a fading star. He didn't know how to fix it. He didn't know if they could fix it. The next morning, Ava opened her inbox to hundreds of new messages. One was from a boy in Egypt. "I don't care what the schools say. I still use my HopeBot every night. It makes me feel safe." Another from a girl in Canada. "My mom works 2 jobs. She can't talk much, but she gave me a note for my HopeBot. It blinks for her when she's gone." Dozens more came. Photos, stories. Simple. Glowing lights on desks and windows. She forwarded them to Noah. He called her 5 minutes later. "You saw them too?" he asked. "Yes," she said.
All of them.
"I think we forgot something." Noah said softly. "What?" "We didn't build this for the science group, or for teachers, or for approval." Ava nodded slowly. "We built it for people, for each other, for hope," Noah said. That evening, Ava and Noah went live again. Just like the first time, their faces showed on screen. No music. No big speech. Just truth. Ava spoke first. "We heard the news." Noah added, "But we also heard you, your stories, your lights, your voices." They both looked straight into the camera. "We're not giving up," Ava said. "Because hope doesn't ask for permission," Noah finished. Behind them, Skybot and Benchlink blinked gently dashed together. The video spread faster than any of their others. News outlets picked it up. Teachers wrote back saying, "We support this. Let's keep going." Parents, students, and strangers joined in within days. The science group lifted the pause. Hope bots were back. Later on a quiet night, Noah walked outside. He looked up at the stars. Somewhere far away, Ava was probably doing the same. They were still apart, still not in the same city, still sometimes feeling alone, but that no longer scared him, because they had proved something to the world and to themselves. Even when systems failed, people remembered. Even when lights dimmed, hearts kept glowing. Even when distance hurt, connections still found a way. Asterisk, the desert air was warm and dry. Red sand stretched for miles in every direction. A tall rocket stood on the launch pad, silent but full of promise. Ava shaded her eyes from the sun and looked at it. She couldn't believe this was real. Beside her, Noah stood quietly, his hands in his pockets. They both wore light jackets with the HopeBot's logo on the back to tiny blinking stars joined by a line. Their satellite was inside that rocket. The HopeLink satellite. It wasn't big or fancy. It wouldn't carry signals across the whole planet. But it would orbit low, blinking a simple light, every night a light anyone could see if they looked up. A light to say, "You're not alone." Ava took a deep breath. "Feels strange," she said, being together again. But this time, in the middle of nowhere, watching something leave? Noah nodded. "Yeah, but this time, it's not someone we care about moving away. It's us sending something to the sky." She looked at him. "I still remember that first message you sent me," she said. "It kept me going." "I remember feeling like I'd never see you again," Noah said softly. "But I was wrong." They smiled. but the sadness was still there, gentle and honest. Later that evening, they helped the launch team run final checks. Their satellite had one simple job: to blink a repeating message in Morse code. Hope is. Still here? The code would loop every night. Anyone with a telescope or even a good pair of eyes could see it. It was small, but to them, it meant everything. It meant that even when people moved away, even when feelings faded or changed, a pen vote. When life got quiet and lonely, some part of that connection remained. At sunset, the launch countdown began. Ava and Noah stood with the crowd of students, engineers, and reporters. The sky turned soft orange. The wind carried silence. Noah reached into his pocket and pulled out a small key on a chain. "The one you gave me?" he said. "I've kept it all this time." Ava smiled. She pulled out hers too. She had worn it on a necklace, tucked under her shirt. "Still got mine," she whispered. Together, they held the keys tightly, just as the final countdown began. 3, 2, 1. The rocket engines lit up. The ground shook gently. "People," gasped. The rocket rose, slow and powerful. Into the darkening sky, Ava's eyes filled with tears. Noah didn't speak. They watched until the rocket disappeared into the blue. It was gone, but something stayed. That night, back at the small base station, everyone gathered outside with telescopes. The first pass of Hope Link was expected in 20 minutes. Ava sat on the ground beside Noah. "What if no one ever sees it?" she asked quietly. "They will," he said, "even if it's just one person who needs it." She leaned her head on his shoulder. "That's enough." A few minutes later, a soft cheer rose from the crowd. "There, look," someone shouted. A small light blinked gently across the sky. Ava and Noah watched it move slow and steady across the stars. Blink, blink, blink. Hope is still here. They sat together in the quiet. They had felt far apart. They had felt unsure. But now the sky held their message, and it would keep shining long after the sadness faded. Because that's what humans do. Even when they feel lost, they reach. Even when they feel alone, they create. Even when they say goodbye, they leave something. Behind that says, "I remember, I care. I'm still here." Noah walked along the quiet path beside the lake. The trees were bright with autumn colors, and the air was cool. He carried a small wooden box in his hands. He had not been here in years. The bench was the same old bench they had shared when he and Ava were children. He placed the box on the bench and sat down. Inside the box were 2 metal keys on a single chain. One key was his, the one Ava had given him long ago. The other was hers, which she had kept close to her heart. They had kept their keys safe through school projects, summits, and even the satellite launch. Ava arrived just then, walking down the path with a soft smile. Her hair was touched with silver at the temples. She carried a photo album wrapped in cloth. When she saw Noah, her eyes lit up. He stood and they hugged for a long moment. Neither of them felt distant now. They sat together and opened the box. Noah took out the keys and held them both. "We started here," he said, "when everything felt uncertain." Ava nodded, pulling out the photo album. She opened it to the first page, showed a picture of 2 kids on the bench laughing. In the background, the lake was calm and the sky was clear. Under the photo, she had written, "Bench and stars we will always reach." Noah turned the page. There were pictures of Skybot blinking on a desk, of the first HopeBot challenge in the school gym, of the rocket on the desert launch pad. Then came the night sky photo, with the small HopeLink satellite blinking above. Next were photos of people around the world, pointing telescopes up and smiling. They paused at each photo and shared a memory. They remembered the fear when the project was paused. They remembered the joy when people spoke up to keep it alive. They remembered crowds at the summit and the soft cheers when the satellite first blinked across their city's sky. Ava closed the album and said, "All of this started because we felt distant, because we missed each other." She smiled at Noah. "We built more than machines. We built hope." Noah reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone. He opened a live stream app and held it up. "Send one more message," he said. "To anyone who feels alone." Ava put her hand on his arm. "Together." He nodded, and they spoke into the camera. "To anyone far from the ones they love, you are not alone. Look up, and you will find hope waiting." Behind them, the bench and the lake were calm. Above them, the first star of the night appeared. Far beyond, the HopeLink satellite blinked once, then twice. After they finished the stream, they stood in silence. The keys still hung between them, two halves of one story. They locked the keys together and placed them on the bench's wooden arm. "A gift for the next dreamers," Ava said softly. Noah smiled. "A reminder that distance can bring people together."
Oh.
They closed the photo album and packed it up. As they walked away, they looked back once more. The bench held their past, their hopes, and a promise written in wood and metal. In the sky, the first glimmer of the satellite's light shone again, a soft traveling through the stars. It carried their message across the world. It carried the heart of humanity's, kind and always reaching. And as long as someone looked up, they would remember. When people feel distant, they can still build bridges of light, because humans never stop hoping.